Data recently released by the Reserve Bank showed that refinancing activity is at ultra-high levels as both owner-occupiers and investors try to find home loans with lower interest rates as the Reserve Bank continues to raise the cash rate. Just last November, borrowers refinanced a record 19.5 billion of loans for the same period. And in 2021 and 2022, it was higher by 20.4% and 88.3% respectively. Well, joining us to talk about this is the award-winning director of Olive Tree Finance and our resident mortgage guru, Danielle Greening. Morning, Danielle.
Morning, Michael. Happy New Year to you.
Same to you. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, mortgage rates are just front and center in everyone's mind.
Correct.
What should be happening, Danielle?
So as you all know, RBA cash rate went up on Tuesday again by another 25 basis points. So that's the 9th increase in a row. So our cash rate's now at 3.35%. So it's a record high. It's the highest in a decade. So that means then the impact on the impact on interest rates across the board, as we've spoken about previously, they've gone up yet again. And we've already seen three majors in the last 48 hours put the rates up: NAB, ANZ and CBA.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk that the RBA has got it wrong, and from well-educated economists saying that with only 30-something% of Australians having a mortgage, that they may be using the wrong lever.
I sort of tend to agree with them because at the moment, in my personal opinion, they're trying to curb inflation, which is at obviously record highs, and we haven't seen inflation at 7 and 8%, which we've seen in the last 2 to 3 quarters for more than 20 or 30 years now. So they're trying to affect change with what's called a sledgehammer approach to try and affect things that maybe historically would have worked, but now aren't. So we've got the impact of, as we've spoken about previously, Michael, the Ukraine war, which is affecting petrol prices globally because we've got obviously winter in the Northern Hemisphere. They need oil and they're driving up prices of oil, which means subsequently prices in Australia are high. But that's not something we're effectively increasing our overall spending on in the market. I mean, in the December quarter, which I would know and think historically is always the biggest spending quarter, retail sales were down, confidence was down. So the inflation rate is, in my opinion, not truly reflective of what's happening in the economy. And this sort of, as we've spoken about, sledgehammer approach of like, let's just increase rates to try and curb spending in the economy is not taking effect.
We've now got, I think, a lot of pundits saying that it's a 50-50 chance that we could end up in a recession. And I've got a new term I want to coin for this. It's the maverick effect, where they're going to jam the brakes on and they're going to fly straight past. How much danger are we in of them slowing everything down? And by the time we get going again, there's going to be that lag and into that recession we go.
I agree with you. So everything is a lag process in the economy. It can take sort of 2 quarters to see the impact of something that's happened 6 months ago. And so this effect of continuously putting up the rates to try and affect change, I don't think we've actually seen the complete impact of what's happened with 9 rate rises since May last year. What I don't think they've understood either is that people are conscientious of the rate rises in the market, even though you and I speak about this all the time. You personally and I personally, we've both sort of gone, actually, our rates are going up. We've got to curb spending. We've got to, readjust our budgets. And most people in the market are doing that. And that lag effect, as you said, they're putting on the brakes. The mavericks are going over the top. So I don't know if we're going to actually see the economy go into a recession, or just maybe at least dip far enough so that everybody's going to go, hang on a minute, stop. And then we will go into a recession.
And even though when you hear the figures that just over 30% of Australians have mortgages, well, that means that the vast majority are renters. These costs are being passed on to the renters, and we're seeing rents go through the roof. We're about to see Chinese students come back in, and I saw some figures the other day that said just the students that are about to re-enter could account for 30 to 50% of available vacancies in Victoria.
And when you know, as well as I do, that the total vacancy rate in Australia is less than 3% in rentals at the moment, as is anyway. We've got such a tight rental market. So if we're increasing the number of people trying to vie for those rentals that are such minimal spaces at the moment, it's just going to be huge. Rents are going to go up because people can afford to put the rent up because there's demand for it. So yeah, it's going to be really tough. It's a really, really tough market. I think the other thing that we haven't spoken about is that interest rates have gone up. So people are like, okay, well, do I stay? Do I hold? Do I refinance? Do I move? Further to your initial point of the boom of the refinance, it's not that people are buying and selling properties like historically we've seen in the last 10 years. People are just going, okay, well, what's the best rate to get the lowest rate best way to get the lowest rate in the market? And that's to move to a new bank, because you always get the best rate as a new customer to a new bank. So that's why you've seen this refinance boom. And I continue to see it refinance boom over and over. Every week, people are coming to me and going, oh, I only refinanced 18 months ago. Can I do it again? And I'm like, well, actually, I don't know if the cost imperative of you refinancing in less than 18 months is going to work.
Yeah, and let's be clear, this isn't a opportunity here where they're going, Lord, it's booming. It's actually out of necessity and desperation, trying to just hold where we are. Now,
Yeah.
Daniela, we see a lot about property prices dropping, but with the interest rates going up, if property prices have dropped by 25%, people's ability to borrow has dropped by a bigger margin. So they're locked out of the market again, despite the cheap prices, aren't they?
Correct. So as interest rates rise, what's called the buffer servicing rate that banks put onto an interest rate at the moment, it's a flat 3% at the moment across the market. So when rates were 3%, they were servicing you at what was called 6%. Now rates in the market are averaging somewhere around 5%. They're servicing you at 8%. So it's a 2% difference in terms of what your borrowing capacity has been and where it is now. So property prices may have flattened, but your borrowing capacity has totally been reduced. And people are becoming and obviously inflationary impact of groceries. So living expenses have gone up. So all those sort of things are countering your ability to borrow money overall in the market.
Daniela, we always come to you for advice. Your top 3 tips for home buyers now. One's looking to get into the market. Do they still pursue the get in? One's currently in the market, and those looking to sell.
Okay, so those getting into the market, everyone says, do I buy? Do I not buy? Do I hold? My opinion is once you're in the market, it's the best position. So if you can get in, be really strategic. It may not be the exact perfect location that you want to be in, and it may not be the long-term forever home you want, but being in the market is better than not being in the market, because then you've got collateral in what you want to do for your future. You've got more opportunity, more choice. If you're currently in a house and you have been in the same house for however long, and your loan is at least 2 years or maybe 2.5 years with the same bank, it's a really ideal time, as we were saying, to look at refinancing. Because going to a new bank, you'll get the best rate. The other thing is that potentially you can bring your loan back out to 30 years in the short term and keep your repayments where they were, and still increase your equity position. If you're looking to sell, you need to be really strategic about this. You need to decide, are you in the right market to sell? You need to look at the real estate agent you're using. Are they selling in your area? Are they getting the best outcomes? And 3, make sure you're being realistic about the price you want to sell at, because you may haven't had an expectation about what you could sell for 12 or 18 months ago, and you really got to align with what's happening in the current market now.
Well, that's why we come to you, Daniela. So again, pay attention, folks. Daniela knows her stuff, and thanks again for your time.
Great to see you again, Michael.